There's also this other aspect we should understand. It's okay. Have you read the Gospel of Mark? No. Have you read the Gospel of Matthew? Okay. Not because you're religious or a Bible thumper. No. Just read them because they're just good literature. Because they really do talk about just human life. Very last scenes in both of the Gospels, you find Jesus on the cross. He's in pain. He's nailed to the cross. I mean, throughout the book, he's very, very powerful and self-sufficient. But the pain is so awesome. He says, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani. My God, why have thou forsaken me? Never in any of these books does Jesus claim to be so lonely. And it's not a healthy loneliness. It's not like you're alone and you're sitting and thinking, reflecting. You're okay with being alone. This particular loneliness has so much pain in it that he wants to be comforted by God. Are you suffering from that particular loneliness?
Yeah.
Okay. So, your feeling of aloneness, loneliness, being in pain, isolated, alienated, fragmented, miserable, has to do with the fact that there are certain things in your physical, emotional life that are just absent. Aristotle calls that being a beast. Bathroom? Beast. My father-in-law had cancer stage 4. Initially, he could eat a few things. Once in a while, he would call and say, "Can you get me in and out?" He liked that very much. His sickness got to a place where it mattered very little what he ate. He would just throw up. His body could not take anything in and could not keep anything in. Sometimes what happens to us is we become so toxic on the inside that whatever help, whatever kindness anyone shows us, we throw it up. Aristotle calls that being a beast. That we don't trust anyone. We don't want to be hurt by anyone. Therefore, we won't give them our emotions. We won't give them our intellect. We won't be submissive in certain shapes or forms to them. And so, because we are very much fearful of being hurt by them, betrayed by them, we rather just keep our own sanity by making sure that there is this gated community in which we live, and they will always have to ask permission before they enter. And when they do enter, we'll kick them out after an hour or two. I am somewhat jaded. I have a tendency of thinking, oftentimes wrongly, of course, assuming that Westerners, for the most part, Westerners in America, that because of the culture, because of the history, because of just the way society is, because of TV shows, because of the world of advertisement, all of us have been turned into beasts. It's not like you don't want a companionship, you do. You just don't know how to be in it. And because you don't know how to be in it, you drive someone away. And then you say, why am I lonely? And I don't know if there's a cure. Let me just pause on loneliness and go to gratitude real quick. Be grateful, be thankful because you have health, be thankful because you're young, you have dreams, you have hopes. Those are great things to be thankful. If you have any good friends in your life, be thankful for them. But that's it. You should always, I think, be angry at life and with life. And you should always be angry at yourself and with yourself. Because of being young, and all of us are, because of being young, because of being arrogant, because of not being fully informed about things and making decisions and acting on those decisions and coming to realize we've made mistakes. You have to be angry because you were born. And you didn't come with a manual. You have to figure things out on your own. You have to be angry because you have to wonder if you're a man or a woman, if you're somewhere in the middle, if you're gay, if you're straight. You have to be angry because why did your parents divorce? You have to be angry. Why is it that school sucks? You have to be angry. Why is it that I have a job but I hate my work? You have to be angry because you have to pay rent. You have to be angry because everything's so expensive. You have to be angry because you live in the city of 500,000 people and you got no friends. These are good reasons to be angry, and they're not bad angers. They are painful emotions that will help you think and see things for what they are. You know, you don't want to be like the fox in the sour grape story. That, yeah, you know, he left me because, well, it's his loss. No, you suck as a human being. Why would anyone want to be with you? You know, your arms are too short. Despite everyone and everything telling you that you're a fox and you're cunning and clever, the truth is you're stupid. You couldn't even grab a couple of grapes. You know, so it's good to be realistic. I think it's good to be grateful for some things. You know, Malcolm X, and forgive me for making it or taking it this way, I apologize, I don't mean to be offensive in any way. He has two concepts. One concept is field Negro, and the other concept is house Negro. I don't know if Malcolm X came up with that or someone else did, but it's a very, very interesting concept. You know, that if you're a field Negro, you know, you have a tiny little place you live in with your family. You have a job, you know, with every 10 pounds of food that you grow, your boss gives you like a quarter of a pound. It's better than nothing. But the field Negro, according to Malcolm X, is someone who doesn't forget his past. They know that God made them to be free. God made them to be creative. God made them to be the creator of their own life. And if a chance comes up and they can escape, they will do so. A field Negro does not forget that he was made to be free. A house Negro has a different story. Works in the kitchen, has a master, says hello, goodbye to the master, eats somewhere in the kitchen, lives in a big house, even though he's only given a tiny little space. But his boss looks at him every day and says hello to him. And little by little, the house Negro forgets who he is, what he is, that he was made to be free, but he's grown comfortable in enslavement. You were born to love, you were born to be in a companionship, you were born to be happy, but everywhere in society you go, it makes you miserable. Don't be grateful because you're miserable. Be angry. Now, being angry is being in gratitude. Because you say, thank God I still can think and feel, know what my potentials are. I don't want to be at Laney for the next 10 years. Sure, there are some great instructors. Sure, I can get 55 different AA degrees. But I am made to go to Yale. Are you saying that Laney sucks? No. Well, yeah, Laney served its purpose. It now sucks from this point on. And should you stay at Laney more than 2 years, you need to be pissed on a daily basis at yourself. And the emotions that will keep you hostage. And all the self-decepting mechanism inside you that tells you, no, stay at Laney another semester, another semester, another semester. And before you know, you're 95. Be grateful for the right things and be angry at the right things. You're not made to be lonely. Unless, again, you happen to be one of those people who just enjoys reading books in solitude, thinking in solitude, writing in solitude. And you're mature enough where you go out with all these men and women, you realize they're just intellectually incompetent. And you say, you know what, I'm tired of wasting my time with people. I just rather be by myself. And that's good for for the first 50 years, until you get to be 60 or 70, when your body begins to fail. I had a colleague here some years ago. She was an artist, beautiful woman. She was 62, I think, or 60. She was engaged in just painting most of her life. At the age of 60, when her and I used to go for walks once in a while around the estuary, she would say, I wish I had a child. She was married, but she still wishes that she had a child. So when you enter different stages of your life, you have no choice but to go back, reflect, and realize everything you have done, not bad, but they're just no longer sufficient for where you are now. Any, Kevin?
Question.
Yeah.
So when you have something major happens to you, doesn't that kind of feel like this? Born, raised with a single mother, whole life, used to be about 15. Find out, guy that you've been hating as your father is not even your father. Doesn't that kind of jiggles your foundation?
Sure, yeah.
Then you got to go out and build your own, because now you're thinking about how many people knew this, how many people in my family knew this, didn't say nothing. It makes you not want to trust them, and it makes you have to go out, on the ice and find out if it can hold your weight.
There are a couple of things. You mentioned the word build. You have to build things yourself. Most of us don't have to build anything the moment we are born. Hopefully, that you have your mom there, you have your dad there. So it just comes with the territory. You don't have to build your own food. You're nursed. Then you go home and there is your father, there is your mom, and there is a shelter. Everything has been made for you, built for you. So when there are moments of pain, you want something and it's not readily available, you scream and you cry and people come and build things for you to kind of create some elements of comfort for you. Everything is built for you. There is nothing you need to do. You don't need to go out there and write a book or build a book and read your own book. There are books out there. You have grandparents, you have aunts, you have uncles, you have neighbors. All these things are built for you. What to do, what not to do, what's right, what's wrong. Even the most basic things, you pull your pants down, and are you a boy or are you a girl? These are all built for you. Then, as you said, a few things happen in your life where you realize that all the things that were built for you were mirages. They were kind of like the Matrix, things that didn't really exist. And you're absolutely right that little by little, the foundations. Watch that movie, I think it's called Big Short. It's about the housing market with all these high-powered actors and actresses. And there is a scene where he has built this tower with dominoes. And he says, well, there comes a point where he just removes one domino piece after the another, and the whole thing kind of crashes down. When you find out certain fundamental things about yourself, about your life, about your past, and the earlier it happens, in other words, if you, for example, suffer from your parents' divorce at the age of 5, the impact that will have for the rest of your life is very, very different than if you're 20 and your parents divorce. Okay? If you're 5, everything is shattered. If you're 20, you have a few pieces that are shattered. But by the time you're 20, your dough, your cement has been kind of dry. You're formed as a human being to some of your personality. So when you say you have to build, the thing you have to understand is this. When you want to build something, if you want to build a shed, what do you need? You need 2x4s. Okay? You need perhaps a foundation of concrete. You need shingles, you need boards, you need drywalls, you need paint. Now, before you can get any of those things, you need money. Before you can get money, you need to have a job. If you want anyone to give you a job, you need to be sociable. They have to like you. And the other thing is, you need to know how to save your money to be able to build a shed. So you can't just build something out of nothing. And at the age of 15, you have no resources. You can't build anything. Whatever you build is going to fall apart. Remember the story of three piglets? If you happen to be the first piglet or the first pig that builds the house out of straws, well, that's your knowledge base. Whether you're going to build a mansion or a shed or a 2-story or a 1-bedroom, they're just built by straw. It matters very little what the size is. And what happens when there is a hurricane or a storm? Well, your house is going to fall apart. If you happen to be like the third pig, says, you know what? No straw, no wood. I'm going to build my house by cinder blocks, rebar, mortar, and concrete. That house is not going to fall apart. You can't build anything that's going to be lasting at the age of 15. And it may be a bad way of looking at things, but it's also liberating. Where at the age of 50 or 60, you look at your life and you say, how is it that I'm like 6 decades old? And I look at my life, everything is a mess. Why is that? Well, because at the age of 10 or 15, this devastation, psychological devastation took place. You try to bring down the intellect to figure out what is going on, to put the right pieces in this puzzle to make your life work, but it just shattered into more pieces. And you tried over the years to find the right pieces, but nothing works. Why? You're young. And what do you expect from young people? Nothing. You just have to sit there, make mistakes. And like the prodigal son, is what Miss Charlotte asked a couple of days ago. The only thing you can hope for is that when you do make a mistake, that there is a place you can go to and someone can hold you and say, it's okay. What do you need? Let me give them to you. And what happens is after 5 or 6 decades of realizing you try to make things work and now you realize nothing works, you want to go back and you say, there is no back to go to. There is no home to go to. There is no one out there who can hold me and say, son, I forgive you. You need to forgive yourself now. It's... The truth is, we were driving to Roseville to see my sister, and My wife also teaches, and so she was talking to me about one of the Gospels. She's much better than I am. And I said, you know what, I have forgotten, because the last time I read the Gospel of Matthew was like 40 years ago. Can you just read this section for me? And it was so interesting. Judas is manipulated by Zerah, who is a Pharisee, is a scribe, and he convinces Judas that Jesus may be the wrong Messiah, because there are lots of people around who claim to be the Messiah, but they're wrong. They're false. And he says, bring him to us. Let him try him. Let us try him. And in you doing so, we'll give you like, I don't know, $50. He says, okay. Now, Judas loves Jesus. He also loves his people. He also loves God. And he wants to make sure that Jesus is not the false Messiah. So he tells the Jews the whereabouts of Jesus. They find him, try him, find him guilty. Judas goes to the guy and says, what the hell happened? I want to be, in the courtroom to see the sort of questions that you ask Jesus and the sort of ways he responds. And Zerah looks at Jesus and says, oh, he was tried, he was found guilty. It took no more than a second. He was guilty. And he throws the coins at Zerah. He doesn't want the 30 gold coins. And he goes somewhere and he hangs himself. Why would anyone hang themselves? Well, there is a good element of shame that lives inside Judas. There's a good element of love that lives inside him. How could I have been so stupid to trust Zerah and not to trust Jesus, even though he did all these miracle works in front of my own eyes? Judas loved this man so much that he said, since I betrayed him, my life is no longer worth living. Let me just hang myself and die. Now, look at the other disciples. They assume they were forgiven, so they go on and they do the missionary work. They forgive themselves, not Judas. He has so much great love for this man that he can't live. He can't see himself in the midst of the mistake that he's made. And the point I'm trying to make is, making mistakes is part of life. And whenever you catch yourself, it's going to be painful. And whenever you're in pain, you want to share your pain with others, because pain, as Rumi says, "Sine khaham sharh sharh az faragh." When you have pain, your heart is broken into 1,000 pieces. Well, you can't speak to someone whose heart is intact. You need to find someone whose heart has been broken into 1,000 pieces too. Because why? Now you have two hearts broken. These two hearts can find companionship. And
But his mind is locked behind a cage. It's never going to get out.
well, here's the thing.
Not broken.
The older you...
Before, but now it's healed. But now it costs so much for it to break that I don't want to share it no more. Like, let's just go to logical matter and just take all emotion out of the relationship.
And even though I suppose in today's world, what any of us in this class do, which is we lock ourselves and our emotions and we put in a dungeon and never share those things with anyone. I think if you were to go back to our 19th century thinker, Charles Darwin, our main function in life is to survive. And we will do whatever we can to survive. If surviving for you means not sharing the pain that lives inside you, well, there is nothing wrong with that. Are you once in a while going to catch yourself saying, come out, reveal yourself? This is Zeus, which is like the Jesus Christ of the Greek world. Zeus once in a while comes down and sleeps with mortal women. His wife, Hera, doesn't like that. She's pissed every time that he does such a thing. So there is this beautiful woman down here on earth. Her name is Simile, or Simil. I don't know which is the best pronunciation. And she plants this idea in Zeus's head. And remember, Zeus and Simile got together. Simile is now pregnant. And Hera plants this question in Simile's head. When Zeus comes home, ask him who he really is. Now, the only way that a mortal woman can hang out with Zeus, if Zeus camouflages himself. Like he's God, but he comes down as Brad Pitt. He's God, but he comes down as Angelina Jolie. Because he knows that if he comes down as God, you wouldn't be able to handle him. It's too much. Now, here's the thing. If you look at Zeus and in earnest ask Zeus, who are you really? Like Jesus, he would say, I am God. And what would happen to a mortal when he or she finds himself in the presence of God? They would turn to ash. So what Simile does the next time Zeus approaches her, she looks at Zeus and says, Zeus, you're a great looking guy, but who are you really? And Zeus disrobes, and he has such a brilliance, he's like a sun, that Simile turns to ash. She dies. Imagine you were to find someone and you have hidden yourself, camouflaged yourself really, really well in the past many, many years. You laugh when in fact you have always wanted to cry. You always wanted to go into a room and write, but you just mingle with other people. So after 2, 3, 4, 5 years of hanging out with someone, they smell something weird about you. They say, Kevin, you know I love you. But I'm tired of you being in a gated house. You have let me in bedroom number 2, 3, 4, 5. But I know that there are bedrooms 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't want to be in bedrooms 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Reveal to me bedrooms 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And there is this moment you feel trust, you feel faith, you feel comfort, and you reveal. And the person sees you. And say, oh Christ, I don't want to be around this stuff. And you have turned the relationship into ash. It's no longer viable. She leaves you. And that's one of the things you need to understand about Charles Darwin, our desire to survive, our desire to lie, to deceive ourselves and other people. You know, one of the awful things about therapy is, you know, your system is wise enough to know to hide things. If you have had traumatic experiences, hide them well, but also learn, have the tools to live well. And just in case those parts of you want to come out, repress them. Repress them. Repress them. Look, imagine you have this great need to use the restroom. This class starts at 9 o'clock. And you've been wanting to pee since 9. And you hold it, and you hold it, and you hold it, and you hold it, and you hold it. And the pain is enormous, but you keep holding it. 9:30, you run to the bathroom. You drop your trousers. You find release, you come back to the classroom. Find a healthy way to release. You don't pee in the classroom. You don't pee at work. You don't pee in the quad. You pee in the bathroom. If you have repressed emotions, ask yourself, what is the best bathroom to pee my emotions in? Don't do it with your companion. Don't do it with your parents. Don't do it at your job. Don't do it with your customers. Find a bathroom. If your bathroom is the church, go there and scream. If it's boxing, do it. If it's tattooing, do it. Do it. Who cares? The problem that we have in today's society is you come to realize you're just messed up in some shape or form. Your therapist says, oh yes, go communicate that to your companion. Are you kidding? Or see it, live with it. It's part of you. Yeah, that's going to take a long, long time. Until then, know how to hide the things well from yourself and another. Because, everything that you see is like carrying a cross. And if you're not fit to carry the cross, it's going to break your back. And why the hell would you want to do that? Life is very, very, very subtle. If you are lonely at the age of 19, and you're lonely at the age of 60 or 70 or 80, you're young enough to take care of it. If you let it snowball, soon you'll be 30. You'll be far too toxic to do anything about it. For your entirety of life, you'll just be damage and manage control. You just need to find suitable people, that's all. Anyone else? Are we, what time is this class over? Is it now? Did you have anything? We can do a quickie.
Oh, I was listening, but I was I guess.
For those of you who need to leave, it's okay. I know it. Yeah.
I was listening that the writing for within the pillar.
Yes.
You have two examples. But at the same time, it was like
To which one?
to pillar number one.
Which is
There is no God, no God.
right. Let me just say how that book came about. All of my books, with the exception of two, I had students who would just come and sit in my classes, record my lectures, and then they went somewhere and they transcribed them. And then they sent the manuscripts to various publishers, and that's the book. And they are the product of many, many, many years ago. Are they incomplete? Yes. Are they inconsistent? Yes. The first is called Shahadat. Okay? It basically means being a witness that there is no God and Muhammad is his prophet. Those are very, very, very mature places to occupy psychologically and intellectually. It's going to be very, very difficult. If you have witnessed a traumatic event, if you have, for example, went to 7-Eleven to get yourself some milk, and someone pulled out a gun and put it to your temple, well, that's something you have witnessed. It's an experience. It's something that's going to paralyze you for weeks, if not months or years. So witnessing something profound has a paralyzing impact on you. It's like feeling okay, and all of a sudden, I had a friend who wanted to change lanes, and they just rammed into a car. He went to the doctor, and that day, they said he has a brain tumor, cancer, stage 4 cancer. 2 weeks later, he was dead. That's a profound thing to be told, to witness that you have cancer and you're going to die. Now, Muhammad becomes a symbol. Anyone who can help you witness something profound, that becomes a Messiah in your life. Which means the following: without having a teacher, a good teacher, there is nothing to witness except trash. Only good teachers are able to allow you to witness things that are positive. You know, you can listen to Snoop Dogg, or you can listen to, I don't know, Beethoven. They both inspire a different set of emotions. Just in case you didn't know, many, many years ago, they believed that there were these planets that had aliens on it, other life forms. You know whose music they sent to the space? Beethoven's. They realized mathematically there is so much magic in his music that if aliens are far more evolved than human beings, certainly they would understand his music and then they would communicate with human beings. I don't know if that has happened yet, the communication, but the point I'm trying to make, the more evolved, the more mature people you hang out with, they will allow you to see different things about yourself. So that's the first pillar, yeah.
What is